Hey, did you like National Treasure? You did? Great. Now do you want to see National Treasure, but all the characters are whiny and entitled millennials? You don't? Well, too bad, because Disney sure thinks you do.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Yeah, if you're looking for a follow-up to National Treasure, you're going to be really disappointed. I don't even think this started out as a National Treasure show. I think it started out as a show written for Freeform, and then they realized they sunk too much money into it, and that the show was so terrible that nobody would watch it based on its own merit. So they just decided to trick people by slapping the National Treasure name on it so that people would watch it. And it is an absolute disaster because none of the characters are likable. The only mildly good performance is Catherine Zeta-Jones as the villain. I will give props to her. She did a good job. But none of the main characters that we're supposed to actually root for or care about are likable at all. All they do is whine about all the problems of America. It gets incredibly preachy and annoying, and it feels like the complete antithesis to the National Treasure movies, because the National Treasure movies were about how great America is and in honor of the sacrifices made to build this country. This is just anti-American propaganda. It's like the writers didn't even watch the movies and just decided to throw their anti-American viewpoints into this. It was like the complete opposite of what this is supposed to be. The only remotely interesting episode of the show is the one where Riley comes back, and that's it. One episode, one mildly interesting episode out of 10. So less than 10% of the show is worth watching. The characters are annoying, the plot is uninteresting, it was incredibly painful to get through, and all sense of fun from the movies this is supposedly based on is gone. It takes itself way too seriously to be enjoyable. The National Treasure movies, they're kind of cheesy, they're kind of hokey, they're fun. This is too serious. And yeah, this show is proof that some franchises should stay buried. Now, when I was a kid, there was a series of National Treasure books that was about the ancestors of Nick Cage's character. There were a lot of these books in the series. There were maybe 6 or 7 of them. Those were really good. Those were really interesting. And it was historical fiction. So it referenced real historical events and everything. That would have been a lot more interesting. I would have loved to see those books adapted as a show. But instead we get this. Something that has little to nothing to do with the movies it's based on. So if they do a third National Treasure film, I really hope it's not connected to this show. I really hope they realize this show was a mistake. They decide it's decanonized, it's not part of the franchise anymore, we're disowning it, because I really hated these characters. I don't want to see them return. Don't bother with this show, just watch the movies again. This was a painful experience that I never want to experience again. This was garbage, and this franchise should stay buried.